season progresses and even coming into this year, looking at past stats on players and setting goals for guys, do you kind of establish benchmarks as things progress there?
You know, I don't set a lot of statistical goals for each player. You know, I'd like for them to shoot the ball better than they have. You know, if you three-point shooters, I think being a 40% three-point shooter, if you're a three-point shooter, is a good goal to have. But I really, points per game, rebounds, assists, I think per minute or per 36 minutes matters more, and I don't even put that into context for the players, because I think unless you're a starter, unless you're playing starters minutes, it's hard to put it in context of averages per game. So to answer your question, other than probably shooting percentages, free throws and field goal and three-point, I probably don't put a lot of statistical goals.
It's only been 2 days, so maybe it's hard to answer. But how have you thought both Nick and Seth have done as kind of two new guys on the team fitting in?
I think they both fit in really well. I think Nick is still getting adjusted. Seth's the veteran. He's been around. He knows how to play, and you can tell. You know, they just carries himself. He does a lot of things on the court that you recognize a veteran player would do. I think Nick is still kind of finding his way within the team. At this stage of the season, you know, 2 practices, you're playing with a lot of different combinations, learning the offense. So there's a lot being thrown. But I think Nick has adjusted well for a young player on a new team, and Seth is, he's healthy and playing well.
Seth in 2016, was a contributor, and his career was kind of starting to take off. How close do you think he is to getting back to being, a player you can really rely on off the bench?
I think we're going to rely on him. I think Seth's, as you mentioned, he did have a very good season 2 years ago. I think you're better to ask him where he is now compared to he was before or during that season. But Seth, as I mentioned, knows how to play. I think he complements players on the court, both with his passing, his moving without the ball, and his shooting. So I think all those 3 things help the other players on the court with him.
Hey, Coach, with some of the shooters and ball handlers you've added, you feel like you have a chance to have a pretty complete second unit, that you can put out there, maybe as deep a group as you've had?
I think that'll work itself out. I'm trying to stay very open-minded about rotation and combinations and things like that. Obviously, starters from last year, Zach and Evan, are coming back, and they'll be on the court. The rest of it's going to have to work itself out. Whether we have, I've talked about having Damon CJ on the bench, and whether it's a true second unit or maybe the second unit changes from night to night, I don't know. But I'm trying to keep an open mind about the possibilities.
But you have interchangeable pieces, I guess. So you have some
right.
options, right?
That's well, one of the things, we've added some quality shooting and some quality ball handling. Seth, Nick, Gary, Jake has stepped up. He's going to have an opportunity. So we've got some guys who can put the ball in the basket from deep, and again, having Evan being maybe more of a facilitator with those shooters around him.
Mm-hmm. Where would you like to see Zach improve the most to feel really comfortable with him out on the court?
He's still a young player, and it's not about improving in one area. I think he has excellent defensive instincts already. For a young player, especially a young big, you don't see that very often. So I think his offense is going to come around. He'll shoot the ball a little bit better. He'll pass the ball a little bit better. He'll set better screens. He'll finish around the basket. I think his room for growth is at the offensive end, but we're in no hurry. That'll come with time.
Just developing a jump shot. A player can get their jumper maybe at their best when they're a couple of years into the league. Is he a guy that's going to take a while to get that, or do you feel like his jump shot's pretty developed at the moment?
I think Zach has really good form on his shot. I think he's a confident shooter. I think he needs to shoot it better, and that comes with reps. He puts a lot of time in on the practice court. He shot okay from 3. I think that's going to improve. He can finish better around the basket now that he's gotten stronger and kind of has a better feel around the paint. So whether it's a jump shot or finishing in the paint, we need both. He's going to have the ability to play inside and outside. He's going to be rolling to the basket, so he's going to have opportunities around the basket, and he's going to have opportunities to pop to the 3. So, it's not just one area. He can help us in a lot of different areas.
Terry, would you be more inclined to play like 5 best players together at one time rather than sticking more to position lineups? You know what I'm saying? The trend is more and more, let's just put 5 guys out there who can play rather than worry about having a 4 and a 5 and a 3.
Yeah, I think I look more at skill set but it's easy to put numbers on guys. Whether I know the big question is Zach a 4 or 5. I think he's a really good player, and it'll depend on the combination that's out there. Obviously, he's not going to be a 3 or a 2 or a point guard, so you kind of pigeon him in as one of those 2 spots. But I guess to answer your question, I think we have the ability to play a lot of perimeter ball handling shooters. I think we're going to need our big guys to be effective inside. The combinations as we've talked about, the combinations of the 4-5 or the 2 bigs, what those combinations are, I think is going to impact how the groups function.
It appears you're loaded with guards who can shoot the ball, at least on paper.
Right. Yeah, that's hopefully it's going to be one of our strengths. And to do that, we got to be able to screen well, we got to pass well, we got to get shooters quality shots. To shoot a good percentage, you have to be more than just a good shooter. You have to be able to get good shots, and that's the responsibility of the team.
What has been your philosophy in regards back to statistics if you don't feel like you're meeting the benchmarks maybe set? I know CJ, for instance, wants to go 50, 40, and 90. On a broader scale, in terms of like meeting what you would feel are specific benchmarks, like how have you gone about addressing those throughout the season, and if you're not meeting them?
I mostly throughout my career, I've really looked at where you rank in relation to other teams in the league, because the benchmark, the number has changed. Last year we shot more threes last year than we did the year before, but it was the first time that we were below the league average. So to me, even we need to shoot, if the league for us to shoot under the league average, that's the benchmark. It's not 30, 31, 32, 33 threes. I think I'm big in important categories to rank in the top 10. If you can rank in the top 10 in as many categories as you can, you're going to be a really good team. As far as during the season, I think you just have I think you have to balance. I think the numbers kind of point you in a direction of what you see on the court. And we've talked about our assists. How we get better, and that was a dilemma last year. We got so far behind last year with our assists. Even after we improved our offense, it was a top 10 after January, we were still low in assists. But you want to figure it out, and so you have to figure it out on the court. I think the numbers point you in a direction sometimes, but not all times.
Have you figured out why the assist numbers are down, or
No.
is that still a mystery?
No, I think it's easy to say. One, I think we did play off the dribble a lot. I think Dame, CJ, Shabazz played off the dribble a lot. I don't think that we shot the ball as well as we could have. We were like 24th in field goal percentage. So you got to shoot the ball well. You got to pass the ball. Those are probably obviously the 2 biggest contributors. We relied on Dame and CJ a lot, and the ball was in their hand a lot. I don't think it was because of necessarily selfish play. We probably let things get away from us early, and I was glad we got it back in the second half of the season.